football players in the world, and less than 2,000 each year get to live the dream of playing in the NFL. Despite having the talent or college credentials, it's never easy to get a spot on the pros. After NFL cuts were made in September, nearly 200 players were given a second chance, the opportunity to keep their careers alive and exhibit their talent in front of a national audience, the chance to play in the FXFL.
Friday night in New York City and week 3 of the FXFL season. Tonight, it's a matchup of two unbeatens as the Brooklyn Bolts welcome the Omaha Mammoths to MCU Park. And welcome, everyone. I'm Ed Cohen. Great to be joined by the 9-time NFL Pro Bowler, Reuben Brown. You look at Omaha, they're down to 3 linebackers. The reason? Mr. Alexander was signed by the Tampa Bay Bucks. The goal of the FXFL, not just to win, Reuben, it's to get to the next level.
Yes, it is. And it's about developing these players and giving them an opportunity to show the NFL that they can make it. And they have promise. And the FXL has done a great job of giving the team a platform.
Two guys who have risen to the occasion for the Mammoths. They're quarterbacks. We're talking about Jordan Jefferson from LSU and Brock Jensen from North Dakota State. It was paramount. These were two of the best in the league in week 1.
One of the key things about quarterbacks is they never get enough reps. And in this league, each quarterback gets an opportunity to be on the field for at least a half.
You talk to any coach about the Brooklyn Bolts, they will say this is arguably the most physical team among this 4-team FXFL. And we saw that in their opener last week against the Boston Brawlers.
Well, we know Brooklyn is known as a tough city and a tough town, and that is evident in their running game and their physical nature and the way they play the game. They stop the run on defense and they run the ball on offense. They also did a great job of getting the ball out to their outstanding receiver, and it looks really good for them.
Kevin Elliott, a couple of touchdown grabs last week. Brooklyn won it 27-20 in the heavy rain. Not easy for Taj Boyd of Boston to handle snaps. John Bach and the Bolts a winner in their opener last week here under the lights at MCU Park. We have a great one for you tonight. Two undefeated teams. Omaha comes in 2-0. The Bolts trying to go a perfect 2 for 2 to start the year. Kickoff is next from Coney Island.
It's not just about the blade. The shaving gel really matters. Nivea Men's Skin Guard technology for a close, comfortable shave. Nivea Men's Sensitive Shaving Gel. Nivea Men. It starts with you.
FXFL is here. 3 major cities, New York, Boston, Omaha, as some of the best talent in the country is on center stage looking to keep their pro football dreams alive.
It's attitude! Woo! It's attitude! It's attitude! One heartbeat! Your heartbeats together as one!
We cannot live with a pick 6, all right? You talking about being accountable to your teammates? You just put 6 up on the board for your defense.
I'm good on that.
For tickets or more information, log on to FXFL.com and follow us on Twitter at FXFL. We'll see you at the game.
Okay, all right. Give me that young one. Here we go. Brawls on 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, here we go.
Ready for action here at MCU Park underneath the famed cyclone. Atlantic Ocean, well, it's just beyond the end zone there here in Coney Island. Week 3 of the season, game number 2 for the Brooklyn Bolts here at home after upending the Boston Brawlers last week. It was a close one, but they went for it late on 4th down, and John Bach's team was able to convert and complete a 27-20 victory.
55 degrees, slight wind, it is clear, and this is all great news because last week it was pouring. We saw some of the video during our open. Very tough to handle the football. Different story here tonight. Should be a great one here in late October. Brooklyn Bolts will kick it off. Nick Marsh to kick it away, and there is Quay Cox back to return for the Omaha Mammoths. Nick Marsh spent time at Utah and Rutgers in his college days. Quay Cox with great speed, part of the Omaha secondary out of Jackson State. We are ready to go at this beautiful ballpark, which opened in 2001 and home to the New York Mets single-A affiliate, the Brooklyn Cyclones. Kickoffs from the 25-yard line, like it was back in the day in the NFL. Special teams rules they're experimenting with here in the FXFL, using noted special teams coach Mike Westhoff. We are underway here in Brooklyn, and taken at the 5 by Cox. Out to the 20, ball's loose. But it's picked up by Omaha. They will begin with the football at their own 20-yard line. And now we get to see the first of the two terrific quarterbacks for the Omaha Mammoths. Jordan Jefferson out of LSU, most recently had a rookie trial with the Saints in the spring, and of course led LSU to the national championship game in early 2012. From the 20, and with the snap, our first penalty of the game.
It's always frustrating when you run a play.
Snap, ball start, offense number 28, 5-yard penalty, first down.
You know, as an offensive lineman back in the day, that's the last thing you want to see with the first snap of the game.
Totally, and it's all due to a little nervous energy. They're ready to go. The linemen are ready to get after it. They know the defensive linemen are coming, so they're anxious, and that's something they'll have to learn to deal with. That's what we're looking for out here. Composure, you know, on every down, some consistency.
Little clock issue, making sure it's at 14:54. So Omaha dropped 5 yards. First and 15 from their own 15-yard line. And the give to Ladarius Perkins, the running back out of Mississippi State. Flags coming in after the play.
On the tackle for Brooklyn, number 55,
Len Stanley there for the tackle.
It's always good for an offense to start the game with a running play, I always say, because it establishes a physical nature of the game, which the game is, and it also helps the offense to figure out where the lanes are going to be in the running game throughout the day. So gets those big guys running and get a good lather, let them to get after some people.
Personal foul, necessary roughness, Omaha, number 11. Tony's offset, is down count. Second down.
Vernon Carney of Brooklyn, Darrell Walker of Omaha. So they pick up a couple of yards on that run by Perkins, and it sets up 2nd and 12 from the 18-yard line.
Two excited guys out there want to, you know, make an impression, but they need to save it for during the whistle opposed to after the whistle.
Jordan Jefferson comes under center. Ladarius Perkins in the backfield. It's a banged up group, but Perkins getting the start. Jefferson being chased now. Flag on the play. He throws. It's tipped and now incomplete. And we await the third penalty already in this game's first 44 seconds.
it's always ugly to start a game with lots of penalties. You never get into a good rhythm. You know, you may have a good play, but then it gets called back, and then you got to start all over again. It's very frustrating.
Holding, offense number 74. Tony's declined. Third down.
Stetson Burnett, the right guard out of Tulsa.
Yes, I saw that that play basically threw his defender to the ground. You know, he has to use a better technique than that. There is a way to take that guy down without the referee calling a holding call. So
there is Sandy Buddha, head coach of the Omaha Mammoths. Omaha guy through and through, going back to his days in high school at Creighton Prep, and later the head coach of Nebraska Omaha. So after the decline penalty, 3rd and 12 from the 18, Jefferson going down the sideline looking, and the catch, almost made. It was dropped by Darrell Walker. He was hounded by the D-back, and this time, Ruben, no flag.
No flag. Great job. Two guys fighting for the ball out there. There's something that young receiver is going to have to learn. When that ball is in there, he has to go get it. Regardless of how much jostling that they are doing amongst each other, he has to be the one that stands out and catch that ball right here. And great job by the defender, frustrating the receiver to where he can't focus to catch the ball.
Trey Barrow wants to punt for Omaha. Deontay Spencer back to receive for Brooklyn. Good punt. Spencer has to tail back inside his own 30. Spencer looking to cut it back, makes another cut, and he's dropped at the 26-yard line. 57-yard punt, picked up a yard on the return. Let's go down to the sidelines and say hello to the third member of our team, Harry Chickma.
Well, thank you very much, Ed and Ruben. A great atmosphere here. You can see the fans of Brooklyn really getting into it. Definitely the rowdiest fan base I've seen in quite a while. Meanwhile, it's a beautiful night for football here in Coney Island. A much different scene tonight than we had last week with virtually a monsoon. So expect to see a great football game, good quality. The field turf looks solid here at MCU Park. And again, the fans are loving it. Back up to you guys. An exciting game. Battle of undefeateds with Omaha and Brooklyn going head-to-head.
All right, Harry, and on the first play from scrimmage for Brooklyn, Colton Browning slings one, and Kevin Elliott, that's not easy over the middle, brings it in traffic.
Instead of leading with the running game, they decide to go shotgun and get the ball out to Kevin Elliott. And Kevin has really impressed me in his receiving ability and his focus on the ball.
Pickup of 19 yards. Colton Browning under center, former Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year at Louisiana Monroe. He'll split time in this one with Corey Robinson. Out of the shotgun from the 45, 1st and 10. And they give up the middle. Kareem Huggins, the product out of Hofstra, a couple of yards near midfield.
Local guy, I guess. You know, and it's always good to, like I say, establish that run game. And right here, there's only a few yards, three yards on the game. The 3 yards is a big establishing the run concept and giving themselves an opportunity to throw shorter passes opposed to longer passes. Great job on first down.
Second down and 6 from the 49-yard line. Here's Huggins once again into Omaha territory, and good enough for a first down. 8-yard gain for Kareem Huggins, and the Bolts move the chains.
Well, Kareem did a great job of finding the holes here, and the offensive linemen did a great job of getting up to their men and at least make an initial contact to establish those. That's a huge hole. You could drive a Mack truck through that thing right there.
Thurman Thomas didn't have holes like that back in the day, did he?
They were a little bit bigger when I was blocking. You know, only on the left side.
Reuben Brown, member of the Buffalo Bills for 9 seasons before closing out the Chicago Bears. 1st and 10 from the Omaha 43. Strong start for Colton Browning and the Bolts on their first drive. Browning going to the outside. Quinton Hayden with the catch. They tried to set up the bubble screen. It did not develop.
We see the bubble screen used a lot today in the NFL game. And it's almost like a run these days.
Yeah.
You know, it's not so much just a pass. It's something to keep the defense off balance. They like to try to pack into the box. But the beauty of the FXFL is that everyone has to play their position. Linebackers have to play position. We were told there's not supposed to be a lot of blitzing, but let's see. It may be a little bit.
2nd and 10 from the 43. They can blitz as many as 5. This is Huggins tried to stutter step his man. Gets inside the 40-yard line.
Now Huggins on that play, I would have loved to see him just put his head down and just go for sure yards instead of dancing around looking for yards. That's a lot of what a running back has to do in the NFL. They have to put that foot in the ground and go immediately. They can't be guessing and waiting for the next hole to open up. They have to take the small hole that's there now and get all that they can.
3rd and 5 after a 5-yard gain from the Omaha 38. High formation here for Brooklyn. Browning drops back. Throws down the sideline. Catch is made by A.C. Leonard. Taken down at the 5-yard line by Jericho Nelson. So they go big on 3rd and 5, and now they're inside the 10.
Now they went big in more than one way. I'm going to tell you, AC is a big guy. He's a thick guy for a tight end. He looks more like a blocker, but with his ability to jump up and catch that ball, I'm sure he's just impressed quite a few scouts out here.
He was waived by the Vikings in early August after a 27-yard reception. It's 1st and goal for Brooklyn from the Omaha 7. Huggins is the back. They go to him again. Huggins with room. Lowers his shoulder, and they'll spot him down inside the 5.
Now, I like that run a lot better than the other run that he had 5 yards on. I have to take my hat off early here to the offensive coordinator because it seems that he's going through his first 25 just as he planned the night before. You know, as you know, a lot of these coordinators like to plan out their first 25 plays or so in the game, and it seems like he's hit all 25 of them coming up right now.
It's been a good script after a 4-yard gain. 2nd and goal now from the 3. Huggins again. Spins away from 2 tackles and walks in for the touchdown. Kareem Huggins, 28 years old. He's one of the veterans in this league, and he's in for 6.
Well, the game of football is blocking, tackling, running, throwing, and catching. And right there, a young man did a great job of running with the football. Now, on defense, we have to talk about the tackling, because that was a for sure tackle for loss in the backfield. And wrapping up and tackling is one way of not making a team. So
this is unique to the FXFL. They experimented with it in the NFL preseason. They'll snap it from the 17. A 35-yard extra point. Marsh with the good hold, kicks it away.
It looks good.
No good. Ooh. So they'll take 6. Kareem Huggins gets in, and Brooklyn on the board first. Five carries for 24 yards on that drive for Kareem Huggins, resulting in the touchdown. Brooklyn up 6-0. And Huggins down on the sideline with our own Harry Chickman.
Thank you very much, Ed. Kareem Huggins, what a story here. You're from New Jersey, the Newark area. You played at Hofstra. You also played for the Jets, and now your first touchdown in the FXFL.
It's exciting, man. To God be the glory. I'm glad to be out here. Great blocking. Thank you for my coaches for the opportunity. I'm just excited to be out here. It's the game. Got a lot of game left. Got to do more.
What led to that touchdown drive?
Great blocking. Great blocking. Great play calling. I had to make a play. Opportunity.
So you played in East Rutherford for the Jets from Newark. What's it going to take to get back to that level from the FXFL?
Sorry, taking advantage of the opportunity that the Lord provides. Taking advantage of the opportunity, helping my teammates, just getting better every step of the way. Every step of the way, every play, every day, as long as I'm here.
Well, a star from the Garden State doing big things in the tri-state area. Congratulations, best of luck. Kareem Huggins, a touchdown tonight for Brooklyn. Back up to you.
All right, Harry. I know you weren't interviewed after touchdowns back in the NFL, were you?
Never. Never. My old offensive line coach would probably throw a shoe at me or something. He would be very upset.
Well, great to hear from Kareem Huggins in game here in the FXFL. This is Thompson on the return for Omaha. He's nudged out of bounds at the 21-yard line after an 18-yard return. Vernon Kearney able to knock him out of bounds. Omaha Mammoths come in 2-0, and the players to watch for the visitors in this first road game of the season. Ladarius Perkins, and you're a fan of Keith Lewis in the secondary.
Yes, I am. I want to see how well he matches up because, you know, he has a challenge out there and his size. You know, and that is a key for a lot of the players out here. Maybe their size isn't what NFL guy wants to see. They just want to see some more film and see what they do competing.
Give up the middle, and Perkins diving for a couple of extra yards near the 35-yard line. Ladarius Perkins released by the Packers before this FXFL season.
The one thing I say about a running back in the running game is early and often. As much as you could possibly give him the ball early, that will help you set the tempo as the game goes on. I played with a great one that did better in the fourth quarter than he did in the first, and that was Thurman Thomas. So give him the ball now. He'll pay off big dividends in the fourth quarter.
And they picked up 11 yards, so 1st and 10 now from the 34-yard line. Jefferson with time, throws complete. Carney missed the tackle, now gets some help after the catch from Eric Thomas. Out of Troy, who was waived by the Colts in August.
Well, we can definitely say early on here we're seeing some good pass protection by the offensive lines up front. Quarterbacks are getting back there, able to plant their feet and deliver the ball, and that is really key in making an accurate pass.
8-yard pickup. 2nd down and 2 from the 43-yard line of Omaha. Bolts on the board first, courtesy of Huggins from a couple of yards out to make it 6-0. Extra point was wide. 2 receivers on each side. Perkins dropped in the backfield. The big fella, Everett Thompson, 6'6", getting through for the tackle.
Yes, Everett is a big kid, and this is what a defensive lineman needs to do, is cause havoc up front. That is the #1 job of a defensive lineman, is cause havoc for the offensive line and disrupt the running game.
Loss of 3. From the 39-yard line, 3rd down and 5. Here comes the rush. Jefferson across the middle, complete. Ball stripped, but they say incomplete.
He's got to hold on to that ball. It is crucial and key. Whenever the ball hits a receiver in the hand, he has to bring it in. He has to catch it. And great job by the quarterback here, taking a hit in a situation where he knew he was going to get hit, and he still delivered the ball on time and where it needed to go. So that's good for him. Unfortunate his receiver didn't catch the ball, but
Trey Barrow back on to punt. Deontay Spencer is back for Brooklyn.
yeah, we had a flag here.
Movement before the snap. Saw Brooklyn jump, but it appears they were coerced. Referee is Donovan Briggins.
Yeah, he's got his
False
work.
start. Offense, number 98, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
You know, coming into this, I would expect a lot of penalties. They're just thinking from the outside looking in. But, you know, these guys have to be very disciplined. And a lot of the opportunity they're being given is to be mentally prepared and not to have these little ticky-tack penalties that cost the team. So it's a great proving ground for them and a great opportunity to work on a lot of different skills.
Spencer stumbles, lost the football, rolling toward the sideline, and it got out of bounds. So the Bolts offense will come back on the field with a 6-0 lead. 5:43 left first quarter here in Brooklyn. George Washington Bridge bright on this Friday night, and not too far away through Manhattan into Brooklyn. Here we are with the FXFL game of the week, and the Bolts leading the Mammoths 6-0. Ed Cohen back with the 9-time NFL Pro Bowler with the Bills and Bears, Reuben Brown. And the Bolts will take over at their own 33-yard line. Colton Browning led them down the field. It was a pretty easy-going first drive, beginning with the pass. We'll see how they open up this second drive with a 6-0 lead. They stick with Huggins in the backfield. Browning fakes, now throws. He's got a man downfield, Kevin Elliott, but he overshoots him. Out of bounds and incomplete.
No. Now you hear me? You hear me now? All right. All right. It seems like these Mammoth DBs are going to have to keep an eye on our guy Kevin Elliott, because he's behind them quite a bit, and it seems that the quarterback just has enough time to find him. You know, if he's getting open like that, he can find him.
Again out of the shotgun, 2nd and 10 from the 33, and this time they go to Huggins, trying to push the pile. Picks up 2 yards and brings up 3rd down and 8 for the Bolts.
I know a lot of times fans will see a play like that, a draw play that only goes for a very short gain or something like that, and they're frustrated with it. Well, it's a part of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to do a little in order to get a lot. That's what I always say.
Players to watch: Kareem Huggins in the backfield for Brooklyn, and on defense, LaKendrick Ross.
Yes. LaKendrick has a Michael Orr type story.
3rd and 8. Browning has to step up. No time, and now he's dropped. Fatu Ulale out of New Mexico got to him.
Fatu, he worked and he worked. He never gave up, and he finally got there. Overcoming a great job of blocking by the offensive line. They gave our quarterback all day a great opportunity to look down the field to see if anything was there, and the Mammoth DBs had it covered.
4th down here, so Nick Marsh back on a punt. Greg Harden back to receive. High snap. Marsh handles cleanly, gets it away, and this takes a Brooklyn bounce. Harden will let it go to the 21-yard line. That's where Omaha will start its latest drive after a 48-yard punt. 6-0 Bolts. MCU Park, one of the great minor league venues in the New York Penn League and on the East Coast. Our home tonight for week 3 of the FXFL season. Our game of the week, the Brooklyn Bolts lead the Omaha Mammoths 6-0. And the Mammoths will come to it from their own 22-yard line. Jordan Jefferson out of LSU leads them on their 3rd drive. Handoff to the newcomer, Dominique Whaley out of Oklahoma. And picks up a couple of yards, trying to bounce it to the outside, a gain of 4.
Dominic had some company in the backfield with a host of defensive linemen from the Brooklyn team, and they unfortunately didn't get to wrap him up before he gained a few yards there. So, you know, let's see if they can stop that penetration next time around.
2nd down and 6 from the 26-yard line. Mammoths coming in 2-0 with wins against the Black Tips and Brawlers. Jefferson completes it. Big hit as it's caught. That was Corey Williams. Len Stanley as well with some help as they dropped Matt Thayer, the tight end out of Missouri State, for no gain.
Great catch by Matt, but it met immediately by this rugged Brooklyn defense, as we've been told ever since we got here that this defense likes to come up and be physical, and they're showing that out here today. Their linebacking core is supposed to be pretty strong.
Third and 6. Omaha's offense has really struggled now into its 3rd drive. 2:20 left, 1st quarter. And it's Whaley again. That's a 1st down. Let's go down to Harry Chickman with a special guest.
Thank you very much, Ed. Here with Mike Golick, and your son is playing for Brooklyn. Mike Golick Jr., a class act. I got to speak to him before the game. So talk about your excitement to see him out here playing pro football.
Well, listen, it's great. It's great for all these guys, quite honestly. Even if my son wasn't involved with this, we had Brian Woods on my show, I would have had him on the show anyway. This NFL needs a minor league type of a system. They have to have it. They're the only major sport that doesn't. These guys need a venue like this to have tape, to play against other guys that have been on practice squads so the teams can look at it. Otherwise, these guys would just be standing, working on their own, running on their own. This is a great way to get seen by some NFL teams.
How do you like the talent out here as well? These guys can step in and play right now.
Oh, they absolutely can. Listen, the kid from Omaha got signed by Tampa Bay. I know they've had a few guys that have worked out with teams. Other teams have as well. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for that opportunity to just get a chance to get in front of these NFL teams that are watching this tape. All these guys were on rosters, on practice squads, so they've been there. They're just on the outside looking in, and now they have something where they can still show their talent instead of just, being in some gym in their hometown, clanging the weights until they hopefully get a call. Now they can actually show something.
And you've been there before. What advice have you given your son and other guys on the Bolts team?
Listen, I've given all the teams. I know some of the guys on the Omaha team as well. And all these guys, I tell them, just keep working to try and get yourself in a position. All you're trying to do is get issued a set of shoulder pads by an NFL team. That's what your goal is, to get a chance. Get issued some shoulder pads, get issued a helmet, then you have a chance. So whatever you have to do out here to show your wares, because NFL teams are looking at it, that's what you have to do. Keep working, keep lifting, keep running. And this is a great way now to showcase everything you're doing off the field.
Mike Golick, thanks for coming here. Yeah. Enjoy the game. Best of luck to your son. We look forward to seeing you at more.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
You heard it from the man, Mike Golick, a legend in sports. Back up to you guys.
All right, Harry, he certainly is, and he's raised a good one. And Mike Golick Jr., look forward to seeing him when Brooklyn retakes the field on offense. Right now, 3rd and 3 for Omaha from their own 40-yard line after a near pick down the sideline. Jefferson again pressured. Escapes it, but he can't escape that.
Yes.
The pair of Keontae Tripp and Everett Thompson. And it's a 2nd sack for Thompson.
Thompson just basically mauls his man and never gives up on the opportunity for the sack right there. And that's the type of drive and hustle that we're looking for out here, that these guys need to have. And I also like to say it's a great opportunity for long snappers, punters, and punt returners out here.
Kevin Fogg avoids the tackle, but now coming back to make it at the 25-yard line. 45-yard punt, he picked up a yard of the return. And we have 2 seconds to go in this 1st quarter. Brooklyn will take over with a 6-0 lead. Change at quarterback here for Brooklyn. Corey Robinson will come on for this final play of the 1st quarter. Different strategy for Omaha. We talked to their head coach, Sandy Buddha. They're going to play Jefferson in the 1st half, then switch to Brock Jensen for the 2nd. whereas Brooklyn, kind of like last week, they'll interchange both Robinson and Browning throughout this game.
Yeah, each coach has the opportunity to make that choice on how much they're going to play each player. And I will say for everyone out there that's watching, and if you're watching someone from your hometown or this is your son or your child out there, they will play tonight. You will see them on TV. So it's going to be exciting for everyone. And I lean to the philosophy of letting a quarterback play the whole quarter, opposed to pulling them out. But hey, you know, you never know. In an NFL game, you may only get to play one quarter. So let's see what he can do.
2 seconds to work with here in the first. From the 27, 1st and 10 for Brooklyn. New running back this time, it's Mario Fannin, after Huggins carried most of the load in this first quarter. We are through 15 minutes at MCU Park. Huggins with a 3-yard touchdown, and the Brooklyn Bolts with a 6-0 lead. Second game for Brooklyn, trying to get to 2-0. Second quarter coming up from MCU Park. Start of the second quarter, FXFL game of the week. And already a passionate group of fans here in Brooklyn for the second game of the season for the Bolts. Here's Robinson looking. Fakes to the outside, nowhere to go with it, and he's dropped for no gain. On the tackle for Omaha was the former Michigan Wolverine, Craig Rowe.
Great job by him getting behind the line of scrimmage and putting pressure on the quarterback, which hasn't been pressured at all tonight. You know, the Brooklyn offensive line has done a great job over there, but this has been the first sack tonight, if I'm not mistaken, as I look at our stat guy.
Chris Panthy is on the ball here. 3rd and 10 coming from the 27-yard line. And Robinson's first series for the Bolts tonight. Here comes the rush. He throws as he's hit behind the receiver, intended for Quinton Payton, and incomplete. So 3 and out for the Bolts, stretching for the first to the second quarter, and Nick Marsh is back on a punt.
Yeah, it seemed like Corey Robinson wasn't that comfortable out there as his predecessor was. Browning did seem to be a lot more in control of the offense and just a lot more fluid.
Yep.
As the last pass we saw was behind the receiver, it just seems like there's timing and things that Corey needs to work on a little bit.
Quay Cox back to receive for the Mammoths. Timeout called by John Bach in Brooklyn in this first minute of the second quarter. John Bach, the former NFL offensive lineman, 1 year with the Jets, 5 years with Miami. Well, step aside from Brooklyn. The Bolts lead the Mammoths 6-0 early second quarter. Well, they had over 1,300 last week for the Bolts win against Boston. Even bigger crowd tonight with much better weather as the FXFL continues to grow. Marsh's punt. Now Machana takes a Brooklyn bounce and settles at the 36. That's where Omaha will begin its next drive. A 37-yard punt with the bounce for Nick Marsh. Now, Omaha's offense has been very slow to get going. We mentioned the goal was to play Jefferson the entire first half. However, Brock Jensen, number 4, about to take the field for Omaha. As we say that, they're going to move this one back, Ruben.
Yes. Yeah, there was a running into the punter. I'm not opposed to that, but it's not in the rules.
Yeah.
You can't run into the punter. So, but I am a little bit impressed by the special teams play of a lot of these guys, because I'm sure most of the times they're not considering themselves making a team via special teams. but a lot of times that is the case.
Yeah. Well, that miscue sets up a fresh set of downs for Brooklyn. They'll move up to the 42 as Robinson guides the offense back on the field. Blitz coming. Mario Fannin cuts it back and picks up a couple of yards with the second effort. Mario Fannin out of Auburn. He was the lead running back last week against Boston. Huggins carrying it for much of the first quarter. Now comes back on the field for 2nd and 8 for Brooklyn.
Kareem Higgins had a big game, like you said, last week. And starting with the run game, it just settles the quarterbacks down. It seems like Corey hasn't gotten off to a good start here. Let's see if he can make some hay.
Play action. Robinson slings it to the outside, complete to Ian Thompson. Thompson picks up the first down into Omaha territory. Move the chains with under 13 to go, second quarter.
Now Corey did a great job of hooking up here and getting the first down, the throw to the open receiver. But he's going to have to realize it's open a lot sooner than when he threw it. He has to throw it a lot sooner.
1st and 10 from the Omaha 47. Mario Fannin lined up in the backfield, and before that, flags flying. Contact at the line. And we'll see who moved first.
Offense number 67, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Guy we were talking about earlier, Mike Golick Jr. out of Notre Dame.
Yeah, you can't have that, Mike. You got to stay on size. That's the name of the game. I'm sure his dad's been offsides. He can't be too upset about it, you know. Those offside penalties are one of those things you just got to put behind you and move ahead.
John Bach, former NFL offensive lineman, head coach of Brooklyn, so he'll learn something. Fumbled snap, ball's on the ground. Who's got it? Referees break up the pile, and Brooklyn recovered.
Now, Brooklyn started this game as smooth as a baby's behind. And
that's
now,
smooth.
Yes. Now it's an adolescent or a teenager. He's got a few pimples there now. We're dropped the ball. We're offsides. We have penalties. We're missing our open receivers or overthrowing them. I know Coach has to be a little frustrated, as you can see, especially with the great start that they had.
Right now it's 2nd and 16 from the 47. Robinson again to the outside. Quick release. Kevin Elliott with the catch. He's taken out of bounds at the 46-yard line. So 3rd down coming up. We go down to the sideline and Harry Chickman.
Thank you very much, Ed. Here with the defensive coordinator of the Brooklyn Bolts, Joey Smith. You may know him because he played wide receiver for the New York Giants.
Yes,
so far, you're keeping one of the best teams in the league off the scoreboard.
Hey, well, all we're doing, listen, we're bringing that Brooklyn spirit here. We don't play around. We're a mean, nasty defense. Hey, that's what we do. We're coming after you.
What did you tell your team going into this game?
Told them, guess what? Hey, we representing a borough, Brooklyn. We representing. So whatever we represent your hometown, you represent. Everybody from different places in the world, guess what? We represent now. We run play.
How are you using your experience playing with the Giants here in the FXFL?
Hey, what I'm telling them is technique. It's a lot of technique, a lot of different things, because you're going to have guys that have the same athletic ability as you. So what you got to use with that is you got to use your technique. Your technique going to take you beyond athletic ability.
Best of luck, Coach. Have a great game.
Yes, sir. All right.
Well, he could appreciate, Ruben, what Kevin Elliott has done. He picks up 8 yards on the last reception, and the Bolts move the chains. And at some point, he's got to go coach the defense, but he can have some fun with the fans.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you.
Robinson running the ball with the blitz coming. Taken down on the tackle, Alonzo Highsmith with help from Nate Dreiling. 2nd down coming up for the Bolts.
There's a name for you, Alonzo Highsmith, son of the Alonzo Highsmith.
Senior had a great career.
Yes. Yes, I saw him in warm-ups.
Lonzo Highsmith Sr., 3rd overall pick back in '87 out of the U. He led Miami to a national title under Howard Schnellenberger in 1983.
Yeah, I know they want him back right now.
2nd down and 10 here for Brooklyn from the 36 of the Mammoths. Robinson again to the outside, again to Thompson. Ian Thompson trying to shake out of a leg tackle. Finally taken down inside the 30-yard line, and some extracurricular activity. This one's starting to heat up on both sides.
You know, there's some watching Robinson here when he gets the ball and he sets up in the pocket. It just doesn't seem to be going through his progression fluid enough. You know, it seems choppy, or he's staring down a receiver or something. That's definitely a skill he has to work on. And that's why we're here in the FXFL. It's going to take me a few times to say that real quick.
It's the Fall Experimental Football League.
Yeah.
3rd and 2 here from the 28-yard line. Mario Fannin bounces off a tackle. Flag on the play as he tried to pick up those 1st down yards, and we await the penalty. He was taken down by Jericho Nelson, the former New Orleans Saint. Donovan Briggins has been a busy man in the early going of this one.
During the run, holding, offense number 65. Penalties declined. 4th down.
Will Simmons out of East Carolina.
Will is going to have to learn there's times when you can hold, and that wasn't one. The line judge can clearly see that. You have to be aware of where you are when you engage a defender as an offensive lineman, and where your hand placement is going to end up. That's key.
No man's land for the Bolts. 4th and 4 from the 30 of Omaha. They're going to go for it. Robinson with Huggins in the backfield. Quick throw, intercepted. Jumping the route for Omaha, Antonio Marshall, just added to the roster out of Indiana. So they go for it on 4th down, essentially a turnover on downs, but officially Marshall gets the pick. Mammoths will take over, down 6-zip. Interception from Omaha gives them the ball back with 7:43 to go, 2nd quarter, and they trail the Brooklyn Bolts 6-0. Ed Cohen, former Buffalo Bill and Chicago Bear lineman Reuben Brown, and our entire crew led by Mitch Rubenstein, with you from MCU Park. Harry Chickma on the sideline. Defense did jump Glenn Stanley. So the penalty flag comes out. They get a free play, and it's taken by Dominic Whaley to the 35-yard line, and now we await the official word on Stanley being offsides. Gain of 7 yards on the run.
Offsides, defense, right in, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
A lot of times fans won't realize that that's a free play for the offense to take advantage of. Sometimes a lot of players will stop and won't run the play. If you're on offense and the guy jumps off sides, you don't hear a whistle, you run the play, because you could end up with a touchdown.
Yeah.
Right here it was 1st down, so you take advantage of everything on the field.
Here's Whaley again. You see some north-south ability right there from the former walk-on at Oklahoma. What a story for Dominic Whaley, someone who was injured during his time in Oklahoma, eventually released by the Seahawks. But this is a guy who at one point was serving Subway sandwiches, let alone playing for Bob Stoops, and as a walk-on had a nice run there in Norman.
Oh, man, you couldn't ask for anything more. A hungry young player with an opportunity to show everyone that he has more than just making sandwiches in his future.
1st and 10 from the 41. They fake to Whaley. Here comes the rush. Jensen throws on the run. Man down, catch made. Gerald Ford. But they say he was out. He thought he was in, but the foot's out even as he shows it. Incomplete.
Well, you have to know where the boundary is. You have to keep your footing. I had an offensive line coach once come to me and say, "Ruben, why did you fall?" I said, "I slipped." He said, "You can't slip." You know, so that's the name of the game.
And a good call there by the line judge. Remember, a lot of these officials are trying to take the next step to the NFL, just like all the players here in the FXFL. So 2nd and 10 from the 41. Under 7 to play, 2nd quarter. Brooklyn leading 6-0. And they give here again. 3 yards on the carry. Whaley with another rushing attempt. 3rd down coming up for the Omaha Mammoths.
Great job by Whaley finding the hole in that up front, because it was clogged. There was a lot of defenders up there initially, and he found his way through. He was very patient to find the hole.
Jensen has to step up across the 35-yard line, make that the 45, but short of the 1st down.
Jensen's having a little trouble finding his open guys out there. He has to go through his natural progression based on what the play is. The defense has to play somewhat generic.
Yeah.
So that gives him an opportunity to go through the reads. And he's having trouble finding who is open and who's going to be open. Solid job of offensive line blocking to happen for that.
Spencer calls for a fair catch at the 17-yard line after the 37-yard punt from Trey Barrow. Bolts will try and add to their 6-0 lead. Center of the world, Times Square, on this Friday night in New York City. And here in Coney Island, under 6 to play, 2nd quarter, the Brooklyn Bolts in their 2nd game, the FXFL, leading Omaha 6-0. Colton Browning back in at quarterback for Brooklyn as they start this drive for the 17-yard line, and they go to Kareem Huggins, who picks up 3 yards out to the 20-yard line. Reuben Browning was 3 of 4 on the first couple drives for Brooklyn for 39 yards. The offense was moving when he was out there, and they give him another shot here with 5 and change to go in the 2nd. And a player down right now for the Omaha Mammoths.
Well, Browning came in with a hot hand. You know, the offense seemed to just walk down the field and into the end zone. And, you know, it seemed as though that is going to be the tail of the tape for the whole night. But they've been struggling since his last outing. And I would say that it seems that the offense seems to be a little bit more comfortable with him in it. He's noticing open receivers. He's obviously they're dialing up the right plays. You know, they've dialed up several good run plays to offset some of the different formations and pass plays that they've decided. I think they even threw the bubble screen in there. So kudos to the coaching staff for giving Browning an opportunity to showcase himself. There's definitely some continuity with him now.
Right now the delay in the action is for Lanier Coleman, who's now up on his feet. Number 94, formerly of Louisiana Lafayette. FXFL standings brought to you by Nivea for Men. And the Omaha Mammoths with 2 wins to start the year, both at TD Ameritrade Park. against Boston. And then the traveling Black Tips last week, 20-19. Brooklyn 1-0 after they dealt Boston their second loss last week. So after the 3-yard gain from Huggins, they go back to him, and this time he's brought down for a loss. Well, Daniel Riley got to him.
Well, that's never good. You're never going to make much yardage with the running back meeting the D lineman, opposed to a linebacker or anyone else. As soon as he gets the handoff, that's never going to go too far.
Second tackle for loss for Omaha, so 3rd and 9 here. And they move them back to the 18-yard line. Fake the handoff. Browning slings it out. Ian Thompson makes the catch, and then he's decked to the ground. Jericho Nelson with another tackle. 4th down, and Brooklyn will have to punt.
Even though Browning came up short here, it seems as though once he gets to his back foot, he's delivering that ball, whether it's a short pass or a long pass. He's getting it out of his hands and making it an easy job for the offensive line to block for him, because he's getting rid of the ball. And also that makes it tough on the defensive lineman to get to him.
Here is Nick Marsh. Good punt. Taken at the 42-yard line. Eric Thomas across midfield, making something out of it. Late flag on the play. After a 9-yard return from Eric Thomas, punt to 43 from Marsh. Now we await the penalty. Donovan Briggins and his crew confer where the Mammoths will start with the football. 3:29 to go in the second quarter. Great first drive from Brooklyn. Since then, neither offense has been able to generate any consistency.
It's been a stalemate, you know, and and I wouldn't say it's by a great defensive play.
Yep.
I would say it's just inconsistency of executing the plays that each team has had to run.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both against the kicking team. Illegal formation, kicking team. Penalties decline. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, kicking team number 42. 15-yard penalty is enforced from the end of the run. 1st down.
Well, so Jordan Dangerfield adds 15 more yards for Omaha to work with. There's 42, a late customer.
Yeah, that's never good. Maybe this right here will give the Mammoths the momentum they've been looking for, because they've been sputtering this whole half, so to speak, you know. And hopefully in this, I personally would like to see them start running the ball. It's going to be a tough call against this Brooklyn defense.
35 penalty yards from the Bolts, and they'll spot the ball at the 30-yard line. Now, it was originally at the 31. One of the referees moved it forward a yard. Let's see where this ball is spotted. Brock Jensen will lead Omaha on this drive. We were talking to Sandy Buddha, their head coach. He said, pretty simple. I want each quarterback to have a half, and he was pretty sure that's the route they would go, but he went pretty early to Jensen in place of Jefferson midway through this first half.
I wonder why that is. Well, I won't wonder why it is. I know why it is. It's just the game hasn't started the way they would have liked it to start. So giving someone else an opportunity to go out there and give them some life is a great choice by coach.
They'll spot it at the 31. 1st and 10 for Omaha after the penalty on special teams for Brooklyn. Dump off. Perkins. Ladarius Perkins inside the 25-yard line, a gain of 7. 2nd down coming up for the former star at Mississippi State. He was 2nd in rushing to their current star quarterback Dak Prescott And just think, he left a school that's now #1 in the country.
Yes, and he is one of my players to watch in this game right here. I'm expecting some good things out of him. And he did a great job of finding a hole in the defense, setting down, catching the screen pass, and making good yardage.
Second down and 2. Jensen, here comes the rush. Escapes it. Flag on the play. Jensen still looking. Throws downfield, corner of the end zone, too much. And now we await the flag. Looks like this is coming back. Could be holding on the Mammoths.
Yeah, as long as he was back there in the backfield running around with the ball, I thought Fran Tarkenton had resurfaced. And
holding, offense number 71, 10-yard penalty, second down.
Left tackle John Sullen.
Yeah, you know, it's always on the lineman. You know, he didn't get a good block at all. He whiffed on the D lineman, and the D lineman had a free run at the quarterback, but great by the quarterback to keep his feet alive and look down the field all the time, and that's key. That is part of the learning process.
10-yard penalty drops him back. 2nd and 12 from the 33. Get a meeting of the minds. Sandy Buddha, John Bach, our head coaches. A lot of head scratchers. It has not been pretty on both sides in terms of penalties. As we speak. So they get the 15-yard penalty earlier on the late hit by Dangerfield of Brooklyn.
Snap, false start, offense number 77, 5-yard penalty, second down.
And now with back-to-back penalties, they've moved back 15 yards.
Yeah, they're giving it right back. Poor offensive lineman, you know, your name's never called unless it's a penalty. And unfortunate in this situation, you lose some yardage and you get your name called, and you can say, "Hi, Mom." Yeah, it was me.
Those weren't fun for you back in the day with folks watching in Virginia.
Oh, no, not at all, not at all. It always made my mom cringe.
Alongside the former Buffalo Bill and Chicago Bears lineman Reuben Brown, I'm Ed Cohen, and you're watching Omaha move back further. 4 penalties for 25 yards, and now it's a 2nd and 17 from the Brooklyn 38. The Bolts lead 6-0. Jensen goes over the middle and completes it to Greg Harden, his college teammate at North Dakota State, and back to the original line of scrimmage.
Well, that's something he's got to be comfortable with. A player that he knows, running a route that he probably understands. He steps back, sets his feet. He's got a nice clean pocket to throw from. And, you know, he drills it in there just as he probably always did in practice with that guy back in the day.
Combined to win a couple of FCS national titles, 3 in a row for the Bison, 2011 through 2013. We've hit the 2-minute warning. Brooklyn leading at 6-0, and 3rd and 6 coming up for Omaha. Fall Experimental Football League and some of the facts you need to know. First, the players, no more than 3 years removed from playing college football, and they want to see guys go to the NFL, as Mr. Alexander, linebacker for Omaha, just signed by the Tampa Bay Bucks. 95% of the FXFL players were once on an NFL roster. But the most notable thing rules-wise, Ruben, special teams, extra points, and where guys can line up on the 25-yard kickoffs from the 25-yard line.
I think this is great. A great opportunity to expose the players to, you know, an opportunity, not only an opportunity, some of these changes are coming down the road for the NFL too. So to see them out here in action, in the course of a game will definitely give everyone a chance to evaluate the value of some of these rules and, you know, how seriously. I love the fact that the FXFL has all of these changes that the NFL is thinking about.
Yep. Hand in hand, they want to be the minor league of the NFL. 3rd and 6 here for Omaha from the 27 of Brooklyn. Jensen fakes the handoff. Here comes the rush. He steps up. He's got a first down and more. Brock Jensen, corner of the end zone. Touchdown. 27-yard scamper. They brought the rush, and he ran it right back the other way for 6. Brock Jensen.
Well, the line this time took the rush past him. he didn't have to step up. He stepped up and he ran with the ball because nothing was there. None of the receivers were open, and he did a great job. That's a great choice. You know, you see a lot of the quarterbacks making a name for themselves running with the ball these days, Kaepernick and Russell Wilson and all of those things. So you have to be multifaceted at the quarterback position.
Trey Barrow on for the extra point. 35-yard point after try. Marsh missed his. Barrow does not. It's good. And the Omaha Mammoths, Brock Jensen, 27-yard run. They take the lead.
Well, people, it's not how you start, it's how you end. Brooklyn started smooth. They started to sputter. With a lot of different penalties, the Mammoths take advantage of those and score.
Something tells me Sandy Buddha will take it. His team commits a couple of penalties that push them back, and yet the quarterback runs for 27 yards and they score.
Oh, yeah, he'll be happy about that. And when he goes to the film room tomorrow, he'll say, just how I drew it up.
6 plays, 31 yards, took 1:40. And Brock Jensen had an NFL shot with the Miami Dolphins. They signed and released him twice. Finally cut for good in August, but trying to make it back there here with Omaha. Trey Barrow will kick it away. Huggins will let it fly. Touchback. So the Bolts will start with it at their own 20 with 1:49 to go before halftime.
So real quickly with the kickoff, the two lines are brought closer together on the initial kickoff to alleviate or cut down on the long distance collisions, the high impact collisions all the way down the field, which I think is a beautiful, great idea. You know, how often, you know, does a guy get a chance to run straight downfield and hit someone? I think it's very smart.
If anything, the NFL right now is trying to find the balance of, well, the kickoff might be the most exciting play in football,
right?
But with all the concussions and injuries, they've tried to make it safe.
Right.
This is the medium, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
From the 20, Browning back at quarterback. Browning looking to scramble. Out to the edge, picks up 7 yards. Good pickup for Brooklyn. Let's go down to Harry Chickman.
Brock Jensen, I know you're one of the hardest working guys I've seen on a football field. It showed on that play. How does it feel to get in for your second rushing touchdown of the year?
It feels really great. The offensive line did a good job on that play. It was man coverage. The middle over the field opened up. Everybody vacated, and there was a huge running lane, and I just took advantage of that.
How do you like the way you're playing so far? Really improving. The team looks good.
Yeah, you know, we got our first touchdown of the game. We're heading in the right direction. Made a few adjustments. It'll be important at halftime to keep correcting some of the things that we've seen Brooklyn do on defense. So we just got to keep pushing, keep it up.
What are you going to tell your team going into the locker room?
Just to stay focused, be poised. You know, it's a long game. Football's a long game, and you know, just don't give up. Take it play by play, and we've got to put more points on the board.
Brock Jensen, best of luck. And the Nivea Men halftime show coming up in a few minutes. We'll have highlights of Brock and his team. A great run there for Omaha. Back up to you.
All right, Harry. 3rd and 3 here for Brooklyn. They're at their own 27. And the draw play, Huggins Going to be short. Huggins was locked in early, but Alonzo Highsmith locked in right there to bring up 4th down and stopping Huggins for no gain.
Great play on a key down. 3rd down is the big money down in football, and it's a must-win situation right here. Alonzo Highsmith definitely stepped up in the key position to make the key tackle right here to bring the chains out, if we are even bringing them out right now.
4th and 3.
All right.
Omaha using a timeout, so 1:28 to go in the 2nd quarter. Now, we have seen John Bach roll the dice, but he is going to bring Nick Marsh and the punting unit on. Last 5 drives for the Bolts have resulted in 4 punts, and there was the interception earlier from Antonio Marshall. Omaha will get the ball with decent field position, trying to add to a 7-6 lead. Wayne Cox calls for a fair catch at the 34-yard line. So that's where the Mammoths will start after that latest drive, resulting in Brock Jensen's touchdown. A 36-yard punt right there for Marsh.
Well, let's see if Brock can do it again. We have 1:20 left on the clock, and will they run a 2-minute drill here, which is probably the most practiced scenario in football.
Yeah. 1st and 10 from the 34. Jensen looking deep across the middle into double coverage, and with some help from the safety, incomplete.
Yeah, Jensen might want to rethink going to the middle with that pass. It seemed like it was 3 defenders all over the middle of the field. I wouldn't have thrown it there. Or I would have been yelling at my quarterback for throwing it there.
This is why you blocked for Jim Kelly.
Exactly. I could criticize after the fact. But pass protection is paramount right now.
1:14 to go, 2nd quarter. Here comes the rush. Jensen quickly throws. Nice catch. Threw a dart, and Eric Thomas hauled it in.
Great job of Eric securing the ball and getting down, handing the ball to the ref. These are all key things in a 2-minute drive because you're hustling and you don't want to waste any time.
Thomas through his hands this time. And that'll bring up 2nd down, but it stops the clock with 46 seconds to go before the break.
You saw something important right there. Thomas took for granted that he was just going to catch the ball and turn around and run with it. He has to secure the catch first. And that's the difference between the great ones and the good ones.
Yep. Eric Thomas out of Troy was waived by the Colts in August. But back in the day, the Sun Belt's all-time leader, 29 touchdowns, shattering T.Y. Hilton's record back in the day at FIU. Jensen looking to a wide open receiver. Greg Harden coasting in. They'll spot him down at the 1-yard line. "51-yard reception."
What a play. What a play. What a defensive breakdown. I know the DB coach is not happy right now for letting that receiver get behind the defense in a 2-minute drill. Come on. I mean, it's I think I could have had a few offensive line buddies out there covering that and wouldn't have let that receiver behind him.
Stop and go right there.
That
the
looks
question
like a
is,
touchdown.
was the ball coming out before he crossed?
Right.
And could it have been a touchback? But they ruled him down at the 1-yard line.
Great play all around.
From the 1, Jensen backpedals his way across the goal line, but did he get in? Yes, he did. Second touchdown, Brock Jensen. And with 28 seconds to go, the Mammoths with a late strike in the first half.
Great job by Jensen, just following behind his big hog mollies. All you got to do is fall forward because those guys have the momentum. Great job right here, just finding the soft spot and just falling in there behind the offensive line.
Elliott Mueller, the center. Stetson Burnett, the right guard, clearing out some room. And now Trey Barrow on for another extra point. Again, 35-yard extra points here in the FXFL. Trying to make this an 8-point game. No good this time. So Barrow's now 1 for 2 on point after tries.
I thought I heard a little thump. Maybe a hand maybe tipped that ball as it was kicked. But we have 2 kickers that have missed a extra point tonight. Which I think is the beauty of moving the ball back and making it tougher on the kickers to make that extra point.
First it was Jensen to Hardin, the North Dakota State connection. Out at the 1, and that set up the quarterback to get in from a yard out.
Just fall forward. The big guys will do the rest.
Jensen's carried the ball 3 times, 34 yards, given that 27 came on 1 touchdown.
Jensen's going to have to change his position to running back soon.
Not bad.
Yeah, option quarterback. I hear it's coming back.
John Griffin and Timothy Flanders, they're on IR, so the running game a little down. Perkins and Whaley was signed for Omaha. Barrow's kick fielded by the up man this time. Take it out to the 45-yard line.
I always worry when those guys up catch a kick. I always feel like they should toss it back to the more reliable guy, and then they can go and do their job. I've seen some very, very horrendous accidents happen with guys that aren't familiar with catching the ball. Yeah.
21 seconds to go here in the second quarter. Corey Robinson back at quarterback for Brooklyn, steps up through pressure, and now he's taken down. Nowhere to go. 3rd sack for the Omaha defense.
That's definitely a cover sack.
Final seconds tick off the clock. 30 minutes in the books, and 2 touchdowns in the second quarter from Omaha quarterback Brock Jensen. And they lead 13-6 as we go to the break. John Bach's team had the early lead, but they trail by 7 as we go down to Harry Chickma.
Well, you're back in the big house doing it yet again. Now 3 rushing touchdowns this year. Talk about the play before that. That was a pretty long 53-yard completion. You thought he scored.
Yeah, I did. We had one-on-one coverage on the backside, and he was supposed to run an 18-yard comeback, but he thought the corner was pressing, and he ran a go, which makes it hard on a quarterback sometimes. But I was able to step up in the pocket and find him deep, and I thought he scored on that play, but it was good to get one more touchdown there before the half.
You must feel all the momentum on your side now.
Yeah, definitely. We're heading in with a 7-point lead, and we just got to capitalize on second half plays.
Well, best of luck, Brock. Congratulations. 2 rushing touchdowns in just a matter of 2 minutes. The Nivea Men halftime report coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Harry. So Brock Jensen leading the Mammoths on the road here First game away from Omaha. And at the break, they lead the Brooklyn Bolts 13-6. Bolts bringing the pressure. But with Jefferson out and Jensen in, things started to turn for Omaha. 7-point lead, halftime in Coney Island. 3 of the FXFL. How does Brooklyn get things going again offensively?
Run the football. That's their forte. That's what they're good at. That's what they've established themselves as a running physical team. And that's where it has to start.
Huggins in the backfield. Number 22 gets the carry. He's slowed up in the backfield. Loss of 1. Lanier Coleman, who went down earlier with an injury. He's back in there, and he was the one to get to Huggins and knock him down.
Penetration is key at the defensive line position and causes havoc in the running game. The continuity is lost whenever there's penetration by a defensive lineman. Great job by the Mammoths defensive line to establish themselves behind the Brooklyn offensive line.
1 yard loss, the 3rd tackle for loss for the Omaha D. 2nd and 11 for the 34. Robinson fakes, now he's dropped and the ball comes loose. He was absolutely drilled. Greg Rowe from Michigan came in with heat.
Greg has been making himself known out here on this field right now, and I would say Brooklyn took a little too long to set up and find the open receiver. He pump fakes, and that pump fakes cost him tremendously. He's lucky to come away with the ball after that play.
4th sack for Omaha. Greg Rowe started as a true freshman under Rich Rodriguez at Michigan. Later all Big Ten as a senior. Former linebacker, now defensive end. And showed why he's made the move. It's been an easy transition. So 3 receivers on the left side. 3rd and 20. Robinson again with that pump fake, and again he's dropped. Great coverage again downfield. 2 sacks in 2 straight downs for Craig Rowe. His 3rd of the game.
Craig, you can say he has himself some good film right there. That's an outstanding spin move. That spin move was reminiscent of our guy down there in Indianapolis a couple of years ago, Dwight Freeney. No one open for him to throw to, but definitely great play by a defensive lineman. Great spin move to beat the offensive lineman.
Marsh from his own 5-yard line. Fair catch called for, dropped, but recovered by Omaha. Antonio Marshall there after Greg Carton could not handle the punt.
Great heads-up play by Marshall to be able to be there to cover for his teammate. And that's a big part about football, is being able to be in the right place at the right time so the opportunity can come to you and you can capitalize on it. Great job right there backing up his teammate.
5 sacks for the Omaha defense. Brooklyn has been suffocated. The last 7 drives, 6 have resulted in punts, and there was a pick. Jordan Jefferson back in at quarterback, and he gives to Whaley across midfield and into Brooklyn territory. Dominic Whaley, running back out of Oklahoma, recently cut by the Seahawks. And there is Sandy Buddha. We enjoyed talking to him before the game. Played at Kansas, a Midwest guy through and through with a great demeanor, which is rubbed off on these pros.
A lot of experience there that those guys could soak up. This guy has been around for many years and seen lots of talent and has developed a lot of talent. So this is an outstanding opportunity for these guys.
4-yard gain for Whaley, who's carried the ball 5 times for 22 yards. 2nd and 6, he gets the ball again. Doesn't get too much. Johnny Millard, son of former NFL Defensive Player of the Year Keith Millard, in on the tackle along with Glenn Stanley.
And he's part of that really tough linebacking core that we've heard about that Brooklyn has. Brooklyn's linebacking core has done a great job of stuffing the run against their opponents up to now, and they're doing another good bang-up job out here tonight.
Mammoths are 0 for 4 on 3rd down. Brooklyn 48, this is a 3rd and 6. Jefferson steps up, but doesn't get much. Shut down by the Brooklyn defense, and bringing up a punt for the Mammoths.
Yeah, I saw a combination of poor offensive line blocking and just impatience by the quarterback, you know, to kind of stand in there. Sometimes you got to let those bodies move around you so you can find the open receiver or find that hole that someone's going to work into.
Deontay Spencer back for Brooklyn. Trey Barrow lets it fly. Spencer watches this one take a bounce, and it rolls out of bounds at the 10-yard line. 40-yard punt, 10 and change to go, 3rd quarter, and the Bolts will take over. They're down 13-6. In the shadows of Nathan's Famous along Surf Avenue, Coney Island in Brooklyn. You know, I hear our crew gave Joey Chestnut a run for his money before the game, just across the parking lot.
Yes, I only eat Nathan's hot dogs. I love them.
Well, Brooklyn right now pinned deep in its own territory, but out they come. Corey Robinson scampers near the 20. He is brought down by Nate Dreiling.
Great job of the read option right there to see the penetration by the defensive line and stick the ball into the running back's stomach, but be able to pull it out and attack the defense with your legs. That's what's called for in the read option type offense that they run.
9-yard pickup, so 2nd down and 1 for the 19. This time he'll give it to Huggins. Kareem Huggins picks up the 1st down across the 20. Huggins, 28 years old, appeared in 6 games with the Bucks over a couple of seasons, but he injured his knee back in 2010. Career was in great shape, and from there had to come back to Jersey, train in the off seasons with David Deal, Brian Cushing. Tried to make it back on rosters with the Pats and Jets, but nothing materialized, and here he is now trying to earn his way back to the NFL.
Great opportunity out here for him to showcase his talent, and he's been doing a solid job.
Fake the handoff. Robinson now steps up, slings it down, finds A.C. Leonard. Leonard brought down at the 35-yard line. On the tackle, Alonzo Highsmith. A 12-yard pickup.
A.C. Leonard is surprising me with his body size and build, with the ability to catch that he has. He really has soft hands. I didn't like him carrying the ball as loose as he did before he went down, but I definitely can see some hands there out of him.
One of the faster tight ends in the FXFL. Gives him a 1st down from the 35-yard line. Huggins up the gut, picks up a couple of more yards. So Kareem Huggins averaging a little less than 3 yards a carry, but he does have the Bolts' only touchdown. That was a 3-yard touchdown back in the 1st quarter.
And he did a lot of it himself because he had to break a tackle to get into the end zone. But I do like the fact that Brooklyn is consistently trying to run the ball because the game isn't out of reach for them, and the running game can set up and open up things for them in the passing game because they'll go to a 4-wide set like you see right now.
On 2nd and 6 from the 39-yard line. Robinson throws the slant, knocked down, intended for Kevin Elliott, but it's broken up, and 3rd down coming up for the Bolts. JoJo Dixon broke it up.
I think he predetermined right there that he was going to Elliott, and he probably should have rethought that.
Kevin Elliott clearly a marked man after touchdowns last week against Boston of 14 and 46 yards.
He's been open quite a bit here today.
3rd and 6 from the 39. Robinson with time across the middle, tipped and incomplete, broken up by Highsmith. He was looking for Leonard that time.
This is where, you know, the quarterbacks are going to have to make, and the coaches are going to have to make some adjustments, because the defense has gone in at halftime and made changes. Now the quarterbacks have to see the changes and now adjust their game. The first half, they seem to have a lot more time to pick out the receivers and find the open guys. Now they don't. The defensive coverages are a little bit different for them now, so they have to readjust themselves.
Quay Cox from the 15-yard line is bumped and taken down after a few yards. 45-yard punt, 3 yards on the return. Up on the subway down to Stillwell Avenue. Here at MCU Park, the Mammoths up by 7. Sandy Buddha's Omaha Mammoths lead the Brooklyn Bolts 13-6 as we continue here in the 3rd quarter. Ed Cohen, Reuben Brown, Harry Chick on the sideline. Jordan Jefferson trying to lead Omaha into a 3-0 start. Back in a quarterback, trips as he hands the ball off. It's Ladarius Perkins, who's taken out by Jordan Dangerfield.
Jordan's done a great job of establishing himself tonight. He's been on a lot of the plays. He's been on a lot of the pass defended. You know, anytime there's a free man, it seems like he's the guy coming up and making that big play to stop that big run. He was pretty much the last guy before the end zone.
Still a good first down run of 7 yards for Perkins. They stick with him on 2nd and 3 from the 27. High snap. Perkins with room on the right side. First down and more. Ladarius Perkins dragged out just past the 40-yard line by Vernon Kearney. First down coming up again for Omaha.
Yeah, it looks like Perkins is finding a few holes here for himself and showing that he has some speed out here on the edge of the offensive line. When you have that much space, he has to gain ground and do what he's done right there. So, you know, good eyes, good play call. It all worked in his favor.
Move the chains up to the 41-yard line. 1st and 10. Fake the give. Jefferson runs into trouble. Taken down by Jameel Merrill. Most recently with the Bears, out of Rutgers.
Jameel read this all the way. He was not fooled. He could actually see the handoff. I don't think the fake was a good enough fake to sell for him to bite on it. He never bit on the fake at all. Great play by him.
Bolts have now combined for 3 tackles for loss.
I was just going to say that. You nailed it right there.
Jameel Merrill competed in the Medal of Honor Bowl. Someone who emerged as a junior at Rutgers, was injured his senior year. Jefferson in more trouble, gets a screen off to Perkins, but the pressure from Earl O'Kine forces a tough throw, and they lose some more.
Well, our right tackle didn't get anything on our Russian defensive end, which he has to get something, because this seems like a screen play. And the defense, they sniffed it out all the way. They saw it coming and they jumped all over it.
Actually got back to the original line, so 3rd and 19 here from the 32-yard line. No gain on 2nd down. They stick with Perkins in the backfield. Jefferson steps through it again. Now with time, across the middle, completes it to the 48-yard line to Gerald Ford. Not that Gerald Ford, the wide receiver out of Valdosta State.
Well, Gerald was smart enough to find himself a hole in the defense, sit down and wait for his quarterback to find him. He saw that the quarterback was under a little duress, but he found a hole where there were no defenders. Quarterback finds him, he gets a catch. Great job.
15-yard pickup, but short of the first down. So 4th and 4, and here is Trey Bauer to punt it away again. Deontay Spencer from his own 18-yard line. Shakes a couple tackles and taken down at the 20. Four and change to go in the third. Omaha leading by 7. Along the water here in New York City. 13-6 Omaha leads it with 4:02 to go in the third quarter. And there is Gerald Ford. Wouldn't you know it, Ruben, the president, Gerald Ford, 38th president of the United States, was born in Omaha. So it's only fitting that the wide receiver plays for the Mammoths.
Absolutely. And you know what? A young guy coming from Valdosta State with an opportunity to showcase his talent out here in Brooklyn, New York. Good for him. And I hope to see more highlights from him, or more good plays from him.
Gerald Ford, the president, was also a star at Michigan. He was the center and linebacker on the Wolverines team that won national titles in 1932 and 1933. That's a ways back, but from the gridiron to the Oval Office, he was quite an American.
Hey, who said jocks were dumb?
Who said politicians weren't jocks?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I walked into that one. I like
Michigan, one of 3 schools, didn't know this, is coming from our producer Mitch Rubenstein, to have a president and a quarterback that has won 3 Super Bowls.
Get out. Oh my goodness. I may have my kids go to Michigan now.
Mr. Brady and Mr. Ford. Here comes Mr. Huggins, the product of Hofstra, who dances his way past the 35-yard line. And they've been at their best offensively when Kareem Huggins has had some room to run.
Definitely. The offensive line has definitely given them opportunity to make it up to the line of scrimmage. They're getting up to the linebackers and making it tough for those D linemen and the linebackers to come off those blocks to make a tackle on Huggins. And Huggins are making the tough, ugly yards up there.
7-yard gain, so 2nd and 3 from the 38-yard line. Take the handoff. Colton Browning on the run, completes it to Kevin Elliott, just shy of midfield, and first down yardage for the Brooklyn Bolts.
I guess Kevin is the #1 read on all the pass plays for Brooklyn because he is showcased right now. He's catching a lot of the balls, and he's giving the DBs fits for Omaha.
11 games with the Jaguars in 2012, most of those on special teams. Trying to get back on an NFL roster and get time in a receiver. 1st and 10 from the 47. It's Huggins dancing into Omaha territory, and he's dragged down inside the 40. Taken down by Alonzo Highsmith. And another first down.
Now this is what you like to see from a running back. An arm tackle can't bring him down, and when he gets in space, he turns it up and just makes the positive yards that a running back should make in that situation. So great job of blocking up front, but an even better job of finishing at the running back position.
14 yards on that run. Mario Fannin now in the backfield. 1st and 10 from the 39. Browning has to run. Colton Browning. Was he hit out of bounds? Don't see a flag. He was taken out by JoJo Dixon.
Yeah, JoJo's going to take his chance at a quarterback when he can. Let me tell you, if you can dislodge those quarterbacks from the ball or disrupt them in any way, you take your shot. You have to as a football player, because the quarterbacks are an important position. If you can throw them off by hitting them or anything like that, it's needed.
Ends up picking up 5 yards, and a good job by the officials. What looked like a late hit was in fact a step in bounds. From the 34-yard line, 2nd and 5, clock running at 52 seconds to go, third quarter. This time it's Fannin, the Auburn product. Extra push, gains a couple. And now we'll bring up 3rd and short for Brooklyn, and we'll see if they can get this final play off before the quarter expires.
Yeah, that last play looked like it was doomed from the beginning, because it seemed like all of the Mammoth defense was in the backfield, and gave it a Fannin a tough way to go to find a running lane in there. 3rd and short is manageable down. You could run or pass. I know a lot of people like to pass in this situation, but run is good too.
They'll give it to Fannin. Mario Fannin slowed up. Fatu Ulale got in there for Omaha. Short of the first down, third quarter's over. And a decision for John Bach and his staff to make from the 34-yard line. Fourth down coming up. New York City and here in Brooklyn. FXFL game of the week. The Mammoths lead the Bolts 13-6 after 3. FXFL broadcast is brought to you by Nivea Men, offering you a clean start. Barclays Center, home to the Brooklyn Nets and soon-to-be New York Islanders along Flatbush and Atlantic. And here on Surf Avenues in Brooklyn, we get ready to start the fourth quarter with the Omaha Mammoths leading the Brooklyn Bolts 13-6 on our FXFL game of the week. Ed Cohen, Ruben Brown, Harry Chickma, our crew led by Mitch Rubenstein. And a big 4th and 4 right here for the Brooklyn Bolts. They're down by 7 points. Colton Browning's out there. Looks like they're going to go for it in no man's land. Both teams are combined 0 for 13 on 3rd down. Brooklyn coming up short on its last play. So here is Browning. Here comes the blitz. He's going to keep it himself to the outside. Colton Browning dives. It's going to be close. They might have to bring out the chains to measure. First down. Donovan Briggins waving off the chain gang. Let's go down to Harry Chickma.
Thank you very much, Ed. Here with someone who's not a guest. He actually runs the league, the commissioner of the FXFL, Brian Woods, a great mind in the world of sports, business, and football. Brian, this was your vision, and it keeps on growing. We're very impressed with the fan support here and the great competition.
Yeah, I think this is a great night for us in the FXFL. You go back to last week, I think we had about 1,200 in attendance, and tonight we got a great atmosphere. We have over, last count, over 3,000 here in attendance, and a great atmosphere, so I'm really enjoying it.
How do you like to see this league, which you've created, give access to fans and help these guys on the field?
Well, I think you see that right here in this section over here. You got a rowdy crowd. Every time the Omaha team is down here, they're taunting them and they're interacting with them, and that's just not something you get in traditional professional football. Here we're really putting the fans close to the action, and I think it's got them excited. And these same people are going to be here every week now.
Very exciting partnership. Nivea Men sponsoring the league now. We saw the halftime show really throughout the game. Tell me about this partnership.
It's great. I mean, this is our first formal partnership with the FXFL. We're excited about it. You know, this league is about giving players a clean start, if you will, and that's their slogan right now in their men's product line. So I think the partnership with Nivea Men
in the alignment with Nivea is an exceptional one and one that was a perfect fit for us.
Nivea men, very exciting. I know the players like getting their gift bags today, and they're having a clean start on the field. Meanwhile, what do you like about the field? I know you're a player as well. How do you like these teams competing?
Well, these are probably two of our best teams in our inaugural season, in the Brooklyn Bolts and the Omaha Mammoths. And I think you're seeing a competitive game out there tonight, and there's a good product on the field.
Brian Woods, thanks for everything. Congratulations on a great night. You heard it from the commissioner, Brian Woods. Back up to you guys.
All right, Harry. Well, Brian mentioned the talent on these two teams. Colton Browning with a 10-yard run to the outside gives Brooklyn a first down from the 18 of Omaha. Here's Mario Fannin up the gut. Fannin trying to pick up a couple of more yards. Taken down by Tyson Hartman out of Kansas State, former Kansas City Chief. So Colton Browning making some big plays. First, the 4th down conversion, and now setting up another new set of downs.
Totally great job with his legs back there, and you have to give some kudos to Deontay Spencer for an outstanding block to help his quarterback get an extra few yards there before he went out of bounds. But I really like the Brooklyn commitment to the run game.
This is the 11th play of the drive. 2nd and 6 from the Omaha 14. Brown to throw, wide open, Elliott reaching. And he's inside the 5-yard line. 1st and goal coming up for the Brooklyn Bolts, down by 7.
I would say a little advice for the Mammoths. Number 15, double cover. Get a few people over there on him somehow. He's having an outstanding game. He's really causing fits for the DBs on the Mammoths. He's having a good day today.
1st and goal from the 4. High formation. It's Fannin. A couple more yards closer to the goal line. Well, you mentioned Kevin Elliott, Ruben. 5 catches for 72 yards. And, of course, the 2 touchdowns last week.
Outstanding job again today. He's showing progress. He's making some big plays. I would have liked to see him dive out and make that one catch in the end zone down there. But right now they're in, I would say, run all 4 down territory down here on the goal line. They ran in last time. Let's see if they do it again.
Fannin picked up one last time. Some pressure, corner of the end zone, jump ball, Elliott, did he get in? No. Out of bounds, and look at him come back into the field of play saying I was in there.
Now that particular play was made famous by the one and only Randy Moss. They used to throw that high in the corner all the time for him, and he would come up with it. I would say Kevin needs a little bit work on spacing himself and figuring out where the sideline is and such. So he can give himself some room to catch the ball inbounds as opposed to catching it and going out of bounds.
14th play of the drive. Number 53, Johnny Millard, the linebacker, in at fullback. 3rd and goal from the 3. Fannin eaten up by the defense, and leading the charge was Joe Dixon. So they did run it. 1st and 3rd down. Now it's 4th and goal. They're still at the 3 after this.
Yeah, that's a tough call they got to make. Penetration always kills the run play, and if no one's picking up their guy, a free man comes in and tackles the running back for a loss at a crucial time too.
They actually lose 3 there, so 4th and goal from the 6. Brooklyn down 13-6. 15th play of the drive, and they need to get in. Here's Browning. Has to scramble. Browning still on his feet. Did he get in? Referees confer. Both saying touchdown. They're going to confer, Ruben.
No. It was a pretty gutsy play for him to try to take it in with his legs.
It's either a touchdown or a turnover on downs. Donovan Briggins, the referee, he was going to let them make the call. And now the 4 officials will confer and see if that last jolt from Colton Browning was good enough. Whoop. 1 second, gotta be sure. They do not have the benefit of replay, unlike the NFL. They want to get it right.
The ruling on the field is a touchdown. The ball hit the pile, gives Brooklyn a touchdown.
All right.
Took a while, but
we got it
that's
right.
the call.
Here he is, gutsy play, using his body, going for the pylon.
Question is, did the ball cross the plane?
Ladies and gentlemen, that is what you call sacrifice right there. That young man, he just threw his body towards the goal line in hopes for a touchdown, and he got it.
Now, Marsh missed the extra point back in the first quarter. It's a 1-point game with 10:09 to go. This is a 35-yard attempt. Robinson has it down this time. Again, no good. And it remains 13-12, Omaha. 15-play drive, Colton Browning. Every inch counts. It's a 1-point game in Brooklyn. High above Times Square in New York City. And here in Brooklyn, Omaha Mammoths lead the Brooklyn Bolts 13-12. What a drive for the Bolts. Colton Browning gets in, but Nick Marsh misses his second extra point, and this remains a 1-point game. Kickoff taken at the 4-yard line here by Greg Harden. Out to the 30, and then the 35.
Flag.
The stop made by number 34, Michael Parker.
Sandy Buddha, head coach of the Mammoths. What a drive for Brooklyn. Spanned almost 9 minutes. 15 plays, 80 yards.
I think that's what they've been looking for the whole game.
Doing the return, blocking the back. Return team number 56. 10-yard penalty. First down.
So Alonzo Highsmith moves them back.
Drives like that are always momentum builders. They always give your defense, obviously, a rest, but also gives your offense some confidence coming back out onto the field the next go around, because they've run a series of plays and got a good idea of what the defense could possibly throw at them now. Because they've been out there that much. So it's up to the Mammoths to try to answer.
But not much happened with Jefferson at quarterback. He struggled, and now Brock Jensen, who scored twice himself on the ground, back in a QB. From the 25-yard line. And this is Dominique Whaley with the first down carry of 5 yards. Johnny Millard, Len Stanley, able to bring him down to 2nd down and 5 here for Omaha. And again, they might have given up that long drive, but they're still up by a point. The extra point, something the NFL's watching, a 35-yard kick, really creating havoc right now for the Bolts.
Totally, and it can be a separator for an outstanding kicker. A kicker that can really make these easy kicks. It can really separate him from the rest of the pack.
Contact at the line. Question is, who went first? Bronson Irwin was pushed back from his left guard spot.
He threw up the hands. That means he didn't do it. It wasn't his fault. You know, when an offensive lineman knows he's not at fault, he's going to give you every sign and let you know he didn't do it.
Encroachment, defense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
He was innocent and now proven not guilty.
Yes, yes. Well, folks, I tell you right now is the meat and potato times of the game, the fourth quarter. And this is when the game is won. What happens here? The mistakes are compounded.
Second down and 1 after the penalty. Ball up to the 34-yard line. Under 9 to go in the fourth quarter. Omaha with the ball, leading by 1. Bad snap. Jensen recovers quickly. Now on the run. Has to get it away and throws it out of bounds. Jamil Merrill, after the bobbled snap, was coming at him and knocked him down. And 3rd and short coming up now for the Omaha Mammoths.
Definitely a manageable down, but probably would have had a first down had he figured got a good clean snap, and it just didn't happen.
Merrill came close to a late hit there on the quarterback, but no flag. Brock Jensen signed and released by the Dolphins, re-signed again when Matt Moore was injured, finally cut on August 11th, and here he is now in the FXFL. And he gives to Whaley, who's dropped for a loss by Glenn Stanley. This guy out of Albany State in Georgia, much traveled, and really coming through for the second straight game and showing his skill.
Yes, he's really having a bang-up game out here tonight. I mean, tackle for loss. That means someone's not accounting for him. Either he's one man in the scheme that they didn't account for, or someone missed their assignment or didn't have a good block, and he capitalized on that. And then rightfully so. That is what this league and that is what football is about, capitalizing on mistakes.
Barrow back on a punt, almost blocked. Bounces out, Spencer will let it bounce. Vernon Kearney was close to it. Good thing he didn't touch it, part of the return team. And it results in a punt of 50 yards. 7:50 left, Omaha clinging to a 1-point lead. Fame Cyclone in Coney Island, and the Brooklyn Bolts getting the ball back. They're down 13-12 with under 8 minutes to play. Not much doing on first down. Kareem Huggins stopped in his tracks. Might have lost a yard. A late flag comes in, and we await the penalty.
Yeah, this has been a penalty-laden game, That's in some ways to be expected out here. These are developing players. These are players that are going to be interchanged here and there. Some are going to go back into the NFL, and a few are only here for a short period of time. So you expect a few mistakes, but you don't want the mistakes that are I would say easily correctable, like offsides penalties, just nonsense.
Illegal hands to the face. Defense number 21. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Javon Harris out of Oklahoma.
Penalties like that, they're sometimes subjective, depending on the crew, depending on the officiating crew. Some guys might call that tight, some might call it loose. Loose meaning they won't call it at all. That's subjective. That's a hard penalty to try to coach and say, don't do it.
5-yard penalty and a first down for the 24-yard line. Browning, after faking the handoff, looks downfield through the hands of his top target, Kevin Elliott.
Looked like he had got banged up here after he threw the ball. I'd say the one thing that I'm noticing from these quarterbacks tonight, if they don't get their feet set early, it makes it tough for them to find their open target, and they're waiting a little too long to release the ball in some situations. Now, early on, I saw a few of them. They get the ball out with nice quickness, but as the game has progressed and the defensive coverages have changed and the routes have changed, they seem to be a little bit slower in getting the ball out of the pocket.
2nd and 10 here from the 24-yard line. Brooklyn with the ball. They're down by a point. Browning, here comes the rush, gets through it, gets to another tackle, but can't get through the last one. JoJo Dixon finally brought him down as the clock runs, approaching 7 minutes to go.
These are the types of hits that add up at the quarterback position, and that's something that a coach does not want to see. He does a great job of using his legs to escape the rush, to get around. These are the attributes you want to see from a quarterback, but you have to have a clock in your head that knows when to get down.
That's 5 tackles for loss now for the Omaha D. 3rd and 11 for Brooklyn, trailing 13-12. Showing blitz, they back off. Browning to the outside. Into the bench area, incomplete. So they get the benefit of the hands to the face penalty, but they cannot do anything with it. 6:15 to go, and they'll bring on the punting unit and Nick Marsh.
I think Browning got bumped around a little bit that series, and it affected him on this last throw that he threw. You know, he just doesn't seem comfortable. When he came off the field, he looked like he was limping quite a bit and holding his side. So I would say, like earlier, those hits add up.
Brooklyn now 0 for 8 on 3rd down here tonight. That's not going to win many games.
Not at all.
Quay Cox going to field this bouncing ball. Cox sees some room down the sideline before he's dragged out of bounds. He smelled something there and picked up a couple of yards on what otherwise would have been a long bounce the other way. 16-yard return.
I have to say the coverage on punt and kickoff has been solid, so the special teams coaches can definitely, you know, say there's been good coverage.
Upcoming schedule in the FXFL next week. It's on to Boston, Harvard Stadium for the Brawlers and the Bolts. Second meeting in 3 weeks. Then it's Boston at Omaha. The Black Tips will come here to MCU Park, and then another game on television. Brooklyn and Omaha. They'll meet this time at TD Ameritrade Park. Beautiful venue, downtown Omaha, home of the College World Series. Short pickup on 1st down to midfield to the tight end. First catch of the game for Matt Thayer. Out of town score, the Boston Brawlers looking for their first win, and they lead the traveling Black Tips 22-10, and they're in the 4th quarter at Harvard Stadium. Boston with Taj Boyd. We saw him struggle last week against Brooklyn. We've seen Jordan Jefferson of Omaha struggle here tonight out of LSU. So these big name guys against this Brooklyn defense hasn't gone according to plan.
Yes, Brooklyn has had a pretty formidable front up here, and the linebacker core, like we said, has done an outstanding job of stopping the run.
It's Perkins on 2nd down. Perkins still going. Perkins turns a corner. Perkins across the 30. Ladarius Perkins, big run for the Omaha Mammoths. Awesome. 36 yards.
Awesome. And who's his lead blocker out here in front of him? I mean, he's got a convoy going down the sideline. What a great job of blocking downfield. Downfield blocking is the key to long runs. A lot of people think it's a running back that can just break the ball at the line of scrimmage. It's helped downfield by receivers and others that are blocking the DBs and the guys down the field. Great job right here. This is Perkins. I've been looking for him to shine all day, and he had a great run by him.
Ran for 30 yards in his first 5 carries, now at 66. 1st and 10 from the 14. Perkins again on the sweep. Gets by 2 tacklers, and then he gets inside the 10-yard line. He's dragged down by Corey Williams out of Southern Miss. 2nd down coming up. Omaha trying to extend a 1-point lead.
When you have the momentum like this in the 4th quarter, driving into the end zone, you keep handing the ball off as much as possible until they stop it. Now, the Brooklyn defense has been known to stop the run, and that right here in the fourth quarter, they're catching a little trouble trying to pin the running game of the Mammoths down right now.
And the clock is not in Brooklyn's favor. Under 4 to play. 2nd and 4 coming up from the 8. And that 1 point just critical right now. Again, it's Perkins. Wrapped up. LaKendrick Ross. The blind side, Michael Orr, right? He's similar.
Yes, LaKendrick Ross from Lynchburg, Virginia. He finds his big body, shoves some guys around. It just comes off and makes a play. How you teach, that's exactly how you teach it from the defensive line position. Now, offensively, our old lineman needs to get down. He needs to bend his knees and get down underneath that big guy and push him.
3rd and 2 from the 6. Jensen looking to the end zone, off the hand of his intended receiver. Looking for Gerald Ford in the back of the end zone. 4th down and 2 from the 6. 2:56 to go.
Jensen needed a tad bit more touch on that pass, or it would have been 6. He threw it out over the outstretched arms. Just a little too much on it.
Timeout called by the Mammoths. They're going to think this one through. Now, it's a 1-point game. If you kick the field goal, take a 4-point lead, Omaha would have, or rather Brooklyn would have to score a touchdown. Or do you try to convert on 4th down, maybe score, and worst case, you leave Brooklyn pinned in their own territory?
I'm of the philosophy, run into their no more downs. All right, if it's 4th down, you don't make it, they're on their 1 or 2, and they have a long way to go. And the odds are, what are the percentages? We got a stat guy here. What are the percentages of scoring from the 99-yard line? It's probably 1 in 100 or so. You need Tony Dorsett on Monday night in order for that to happen. You know?
They have Kareem Huggins. They have Mario Fannin.
Yeah.
And they're going the other way from you.
Right.
Sandy Buddha is bringing on Trey Barrow. And they're lining up for a field goal. 24-yard attempt, trying to make this a 4-point margin. Jensen to hold. Marcus Height will snap it. Blocked!
Huge.
With 2:50 to go, it's a 1-point game.
I'd like to see where that block came from. That's 32.
Watch 32, Darren Wilson got in there in the nick of time.
Great job by him. He did exactly what he was taught. He extended his hands out in front of him. Oddly enough, a lot of guys extend their hands straight up in the air, opposed to out in front of them, where, you know, the natural trajectory of the ball, you know, would put it right into their hands.
Kick went through the end zone, so it's a touchback, and now 1st and 10 from the 20 for Brooklyn. 2:51 to go. They're down 13-12. And it is Kareem Huggins picking up about 5 yards. Extra points, the big story. Omaha missed 1, Brooklyn missed 2. That's why they're down a point. Nick Marsh, wide right. And then again, a chance to tie it. The wind took care of that one. Kickoff or extra points in the 35 yards out here in the FXFL. Now it's Robinson looking for Elliott. Almost intercepted.
Great play by Elliott to break up the pass because it seemed as though it was a for sure interception right there.
Jared Bryant, 6'3". Watch him climb the ladder and nearly has the pick.
Definitely. Great play by Elliott to come back for the ball. But great defense. The defense is all over this now. They can see where the ball is going, and they're breaking on it before the quarterback throws it.
3rd and 5 from the 25. Brooklyn with the ball down by 1, but they're 0 for 9 on 3rd down, and now movement. Looked like Alex Bullard on the left side of the line.
66, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Crushing.
These are the things you can't have in key situations. There are mistakes that happen throughout the entire game, but you don't want them in key situations. 2 minutes, 10 seconds left on the clock. You have to drive down the field and you jump off sides. That's a no-no.
5 penalties for 45 yards. And now 3rd and 10. Back at the 20. 0 for 9 on 3rd down. Low snap. Robinson handles. Looks at a double coverage. Catch made. A.C. Leonard. A huge one.
AC is really shining. I said he has soft hands, and how he put that big body in between 3 defenders, I don't know. But he did a great job.
We have hit the 2-minute warning, and the Bolts still with some life. Robinson to Leonard, move the chains. Bolts down 1, but they're driving. New York Harbor. 2-minute warning, 4th quarter, and the Omaha Mammoths leading Brooklyn 13-12. Brooklyn after a 1st down by A.C. Leonard. Looking for Leonard. Robinson's pass a little behind him, tipped it incomplete. Tyson Hartman dropped into coverage.
He wants that back. He wants that back because that ball was over the top, touchdown. Oh, the wind must have got it or something out there because the wind is picking up out here. But let me tell you, it's 2-minute time. Every team in the NFL practice this, and if you want to be a quarterback in the NFL, know how to run the 2-minute drill to perfection. You will get a shot.
2nd and 10 from the 36. Brooklyn down a point. Go to the ground this time. It's Huggins dancing to the outside. Not much. Maybe a yard or 2. Antonio Marshall got there first for Omaha. And now the dreaded 3rd down. Just 1 conversion so far for Brooklyn.
Great job by Marshall in the game, keeping him inbounds opposed to letting him get out of bounds where he would have been able to stop the clock. Now we have an injury timeout down the field.
Player down is for Omaha. Since they're on defense, injury timeout, they lose a timeout, gives them 1 left. And JoJo Dixon, who has played on practice squads with the Jaguars, Browns, Jets, and Cardinals, now being helped up.
And had just come off making a really good play not too long ago. So
this is week 3 in the FXFL. 2 undefeateds in these closing minutes. Omaha Mammoths trying to get to 3-0. Brooklyn Bolts coming off a win against Boston last week. Now it's a 27-20 win. They rallied for the go-ahead score. And then in the closing minutes, they went for it on 4th down to seal the game. And it worked. And they picked up their first win. Black Tips and Brawlers also meeting. And Boston, last time we checked, with the 4th quarter lead, looking for their first win. Brooklyn with all 3 of its timeouts. 1:41 to go, but they're 1 of 10 on 3rd down. And this is a 3rd and 8 from their own 38-yard line.
huge 3rd down.
Robinson with time. Robinson looking deep. Leonard, he's got it. A.C. Leonard. 50-yard catch. Clock's running, 1:25 to go.
They have to get up really quick, get set. Well, if it didn't work the first time, well, let's go back to it again. And this time he connects on it. He gets the right route, the right throw, everything works for him. Great job. And AC, our big tight end with the soft hands.
4 catches, 106 yards. Clock's running. John Bach doesn't want to leave any time for Omaha if Brooklyn can score. 52 seconds. 1st and 10 from the Mammoths 13. And before the snap false start is going to move them back. So 1st and 15 coming up. They'll be dropped back to the 18-yard line. They let a lot of time come off the clock, with the thought being they don't want to leave any time left if they score.
Now, right here, a lot of
false
times.
start, offense number 81. The 5-yard penalty. The clock was running inside of a minute. It's going to be a 10-second runoff. Please reset the game clock to 37 seconds. 37 seconds.
Huge. Now, in a lot of situations, you say a
my
penalty backing you up is a bad thing. Well, when you're tight on the goal line, sometimes it's a good thing to give yourself some space, because you know you're probably going to throw down there. So, good, bad, let's see how it turns out.
Remember, Brooklyn does have 3 timeouts, so they can use the middle of the field here.
Absolutely.
13-12 Omaha. Clock now running. Robinson throwing, end zone, off the hand of Deontay Spencer.
A little high out there, a little higher, you would have had 6 points. And the blitz was coming. The blitz was on one more man than they could have. Smart move to slide over, and knowing the blitz is coming, and give yourself some extra time and to help that receiver to come open. Just overthrew it a little too much.
A.C. Leonard got him down to this point, a 50-yard reception. And earlier on this drive, hauled in the only 3rd down conversion of the game for Brooklyn. 2nd and 15 now for the 18. On the ground this time, Huggins, a draw play, couple of yards. Now they have 3 timeouts to use. They use 1 now to freeze the clock at 23 seconds. What do you make of that 2nd down call?
You know, I'm always run. You know, I kind of figure he's going for the field goal here then. If he's definitely going to attempt a draw play to kind of center yourself, put yourself in the middle of the field so you have a straight-on kick opposed to out on the hash or something like that. With the time running down, it all makes sense.
Yep.
It all adds up. We're not here to critique the coaches too much. No. We want to critique the players. But smart move. That's a smart move. It's a veteran coaching move to do that.
Now, Nick Marsh, kicker for Brooklyn, has missed a pair of extra points. That is why it's a 1-point game, but he just might get a shot at redemption. We'll see what happens here on 3rd and 13. They've used only 1 of their 3 timeouts.
Gives them some room to work with only 23 seconds, 23.6 seconds on the clock. Well, I would say look for our guy, A.C. Leonard.
He's number 81. He's lined up on the right side with Elliott. Robinson steps up, tripped up, and fighting his way back, maybe a little shy of the original line. Timeout again for Brooklyn. That leaves him with 1 left, but it's 4th down, 16 seconds to go.
Second timeout.
And Nick Marsh with the ultimate chance at redemption here in the 2nd game for the Bolts.
Well, you got to say a lot about the Mammoth defensive front to get up there and get some pressure on a key down, cause a sack or a tackle for no gain, to bring out the kicking unit opposed to them having a real good attempt at going into the end zone or throwing the ball up for grabs. So let's see if our kicker can redeem himself.
He missed 2 extra points. Those were 35-yard kicks. This one is about 36. He is kicking towards the Atlantic Ocean. He missed 1 extra point on this end.
A slight breeze, slight.
John Aikman to snap it. Corey Robinson to hold. And Omaha with 1 timeout remaining, and they use it now to freeze Marsh. In what feels like freeze, with the wind really picking up.
Yeah. You know what? The wind was not blowing as hard as until he called the timeout. If he only would have known, he would have let him kick with the wind picking up. But it's still difficult. It's nothing's given. You know, you have to do it. That's why we play the game.
Nick Marsh, former kicker at Utah and Rutgers. A windy night, especially in this 4th quarter from Coney Island.
Yeah.
This is it. Brooklyn down 1, trying to take the lead with 16 seconds to go. Snaps down from Robinson. The kick on the way. This time, it's good. Redemption for Nick Marsh.
There you go.
And Brooklyn leads it by 2.
Okay, now they have that little formality of kicking the ball off to their opponent now in hopes that they don't return it to the house for a score. But great job to redeem himself, which seems to be the game-winning kick right now. But we have a few seconds before that's confirmed. Yeah. Oh, no. What is it?
$11 plays, 62 yards. Took 2 minutes and 39 seconds, and Nick Marsh with the 36-yard field goal. After twice he missed extra points from 35 yards out.
Well, way to redeem yourself, because the best film is going to be the last film, you know, and I'm sure he wanted all of those kicks back prior to missing the earlier ones, and he had his opportunity right here. But he got that opportunity by the great running, play calling, and some leg work of the on the behalf of the offense.
And now Marsh to kick it away. Omaha out of timeouts. Scribs this one. Quay Cox. Did that hit him? It rests in the end zone. It's a touchback. Now the Brooklyn coaches are saying that hit the foot of Cox. From our angle, looked like he may have touched it. At that point, it's either a touchback, maybe it goes out of bounds. That's the last thing you want.
Yeah.
But the call is touchback.
Yes. It did look like it hit him. Well, not from that angle, you can't tell.
He was already in the end zone, and it did hit him.
Yeah, so it would have been dead.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you see the explanation on the Omaha sideline. It looked like he touched it, but he was already in the end zone.
Yes, this is when we have to go to the rule books, and these aren't always situations that are practiced on a regular basis. I know a lot of times in film review or studying for a game, we'll review something like this, like, hey, if the ball happens to touch you in this situation, these are the scenarios and this is what you have to do. So I'm sure this is not on everyone's forefront.
The touchback. The ball went 20 yards. The ball is dead.
So they'll bring it out to the 20. Yes. 12 seconds to go. 2-point lead for Brooklyn. John Bach's team on the Nick Marsh 36-yard field goal takes the lead, and now Omaha, with no timeouts, has to go 80 yards.
Now the deal here in the FXFL is the fact that if the ball goes 20 yards, it's like a punt now.
Yeah.
It's not a kick. If it's less than 20 yards, then the team can cover it and try to get possession.
Jensen back out there for Omaha. Here comes the rush. Jensen looking. That's complete and quickly out of bounds. Catch made by Eric Thomas. It took 6 seconds, and now 6 seconds left for the Mammoths.
Looks like this one is going to have to go to the house. So the job of the DBs in this situation is get behind the receivers and no matter what, knock it down. Knock the ball down.
Doesn't need to be pretty.
Yeah, knock it down.
From the 35-yard line, Jensen out of the shotgun with 6 seconds. Jensen escapes the pressure, buying time, but he can't buy enough. He's dropped by Glenn Stanley, and that's the game. And the Brooklyn Bolts, another dramatic win late in the fourth quarter. Nick Marsh redeems himself with the field goal, and Glenn Stanley seals it with the sack of Brock Jensen.
Well, I call that a rugged win. They battled that one all the way through and put themselves in a position to come out with the win. So kudos to the Brooklyn Bolts.
John Bach's team 2-0. Omaha falls in its road debut. They're now 2-1. He missed from 35 on extra points twice. He hit from 36, and the Bolts a winner in Brooklyn.